Tell them leave me alone. Swimming in my drip, 2 fishes in the pond. Tell them leave me alone.
We're gonna do this one the right way. Pisces. I don't wanna know your name, cause I might just feel your pain. Might just risk my life to keep you dry when it rains.
All right, what is up, world? Welcome to the Anthony Presley Files. And I'm excited about this episode because there's a little bit to add to this, definitely in post-production. The Clipse, new album, and my run-ins with the Clipse, right? Now, keep in mind with these stories, I have to throw this disclaimer out there because people don't think. Now, me as a little person, as a little guy, as the unknown guy, right? When you have encounters with celebrities or big name people, the stories are going to be significant to you. Obviously not to the celebrity. So if you were to ask the Clipse if they know me or if they remember these situations, clearly they're not going to. If you run into Shaquille O'Neal at a Burger King and you say what's up to him and he gives you a high five and you tell the story 3 years later, 5 years later, whatever, this is probably more than 10 or more years later, the stories I'm going to tell. Of course, he's not going to remember that. Why would he remember you? They encounter lots of people. The new album dropped yesterday. Today's July 12th. The album came out yesterday, July 11th, 2025, obviously. And the album is fire. I mean, we've been waiting for a Clipse album, you know? The album is fire, classic, masterpiece, man. From the rapping, the production, the packaging, the art, the everything. I'm very proud of my boys because, you know, being from Vibe Beach, that's where I am right now. Vibe Beach is where I'm from. And it's cool to see some people from your area that's just such on a huge level. Getting into that, I had a few run-ins with the Clipse and a funny situation where I thought Pusha was, you can say, I guess, dissing me or taunting me or throwing a subliminal. And I'll get into that story. But first, my first run-in with Pusha T was actually at a concert. I went to a Snoop Dogg concert. This is like probably freaking 15, 20 years ago at this point. I went to a Snoop Dogg concert. This was at the Norva, and the person that invited me to go with them, they were in a wheelchair. So when we got to the venue, as soon as they seen him, they was like, oh, go grab him. We got the VIP treatment because he was in a wheelchair. So we didn't have to wait in the long ass line. They got him and I was with him and we got to go straight in. We didn't have to sit down with all the people. They let us go. I don't know if it's a VIP section or if it's just another level anybody can get, but we got to go in the top level. We didn't have to be on the floor with everybody else. We were on the top level. And there wasn't that many people up there. I'm assuming it's VIP. So we were in the balcony suite. And there's like a little mini bar up there. There's pool tables. So we got to sit up there. And I didn't know like that's how we was going to get treated. I was like, oh man, but it was because he was in a wheelchair. So I'm up there chilling. And back in the day, y'all, back in the day, your boy used to be a rapper.
I'm hot like a Kardashian, dropping flames, got them haters mad again. I'm moving like I made it, nigga. Yeah, till the day we say we made it, nigga. Damn.
Off and on, you know, just grinding out since our early teen. Had a couple record deals on the table. You know, life gets in the way sometimes. Have to just get back, focus on taking care of the family, then, you know, get back to it.
To the grind.
Now that I got my grind right, my mind right, focusing, researching, just get into it now.
That's dope. You gotta stay focused.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I was a little local hometown hero. I was making a lot of noise over the years locally. I went by the name Trigger, aka Royal P, aka Sir Ant. I got a song in a movie called Consignment. The movie's still out. You can probably find it on Tubi or them little kind of streaming apps. A song called Get High, Get Drunk. It's actually in the bar scene. If you check the movie out, the song that's playing in the bar scene is my track. I produced it. I wrote it. I was that guy. I was getting a decent buzz. And it's cool. I had fun while it lasted. I made money off of it here and there. It was cool. It was cool while it lasted. So I had a demo in my back pocket at this concert. And because I was, back in the day, you were always just prepared. You always had a demo. CDs were still popping, so I had a CD in my back pocket. And, I was like, you never know. I may be able to hand it to Snoop or Daz or whoever was there. So I'm chilling, and I turn around, and Pusha T was, like, standing behind me. Not directly behind me. He was a little ways behind me, but I turn around, and I see Pusha T, and I'm like, oh, snap. There's Pusha T, And I think at this time, like, Grinding may have just came out. Like, I think it was like that era. Like, it was early Clipse. Because, like, nobody was really saying nothing to him or going up to him or nothing. So I was like, me just being a hip hop head, I knew who he was. I wasn't sure because it was like it was a mixed crowd, mostly older, but some, everybody knows Snoop. So some young people. And I wasn't sure if, like, people knew him or whatever. But I knew him because I was a huge fan. I've always been a huge fan. And I was looking, and I turned around. I'm like, oh, snap, should I give him this CD? Then I would turn around, look again, then turn back around. And I was, like, debating on if I should go up to him and give him the CD. I'm like, nah, I can't give him the CD because he's not going to hold the CD the whole time. He's gonna throw it away. I kept looking at him. Oh, should I go say what's up? I don't know why I was, like, in such a deep thought process when I could have just said what's up, And, like, the last time I looked, he, like, looked, and we connected, and, like, he gave me this look, like, what the hell you keep looking at me for? And I didn't end up saying anything to him. I just felt like he's here chilling and enjoy the show. So I just like, you know what? I'm not going to bother him. Let the man live, So that was my encounter seeing Pusha T in real life. I had another encounter with Malice. So I used to work for the Department of Social Services. I was in the Fleet and Facilities Management Department. But before I got brought on to actually work for them, I used to do security for them. So I started off doing security for the Department of Social Services. So I was doing security one day, and I was doing a building walkthrough. I happened to walk up in the front where the front desk girls were, and I'm just chilling there, talking to them, looking at the camera. And then here comes Malice, walks in. And I look, and I said, dang, this dude look familiar, I'm like, where do I know this guy from? And he was talking to them. And I'm like, he sounds familiar because they got distinctive voices. And then he was saying, like, he had to check something. He's like, oh, he'll be right back. So when he left, I'm like, oh, snap. I'm like, do y'all know who that was? And it was two little young girls. They were like, no, who was that? I'm like, that's dude from the Clipse. I'm like, y'all know the song Grinding? And I had to, like, do the beat on the table. They was like, oh, they recognized the beat. They was like, oh, was that him? I'm like, yeah, it was him. So I pull up my phone, I Google him a picture, and I'm like, yo, that was him. And I was like, oh my God, that was him. So he came back in, and if I remember correctly, because when he first came in, I was like, why is he here? Because the department I was in was where you go to get food stamps and, like, Medicaid and, like, child protective services and all that type of shit. So I was like, why was he in here? But if I remember correctly, because I overheard some of the conversation, he was trying to find a point of contact to be able to shoot a scene to a music video on the roof of the social services building. But and if I remember correctly, I think they denied it. Like they was like, nah, they ain't let him do it. But that's why he was there. And I remember seeing him. And again, like, I did speak to him, but I was just like, dang, I wanted to present some music because I was always ready. I was always ready with music. Just was like, said, what's up? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I think we fist bump, and I didn't really say much. Just what's up? I wanted to get a picture, but I always held back because it's like, I don't know. I just didn't want to be doing too much. Like, the man just trying to conduct his business. So I just said, what's up? We did a little fist bump. And, kept it moving. And I actually, years later, when I wasn't rapping no more, I was starting to get into the podcast space. I actually talked to Pusha online via live. And we actually set up to do an interview. This is when he started doing the No Malice stuff, and he was doing his own music. And we had a brief chat online, on Instagram Live. And he was down for doing an interview. It never happened because I could never get him back on the line. I could never get a hold of him again. See, like I said, he probably won't remember this, but he was in the gym out in Via Beach, and he was on the treadmill, and he was on IG Live, and I chimed in, and we had, because he was like, he would do that. He would get on live and he would just let people come in, and he would have Q&A. He would talk to people. So then when I got a chance, I chimed in, and we was having a little back and forth, and I was telling him, you know, what I do, trying to build a podcast, and I'm like, you know, I would love to have you on the show. And he was like, yeah, of course, I'd be down for that. And, you know, but the man's busy, so I never was able to get a hold of him again to see that through, you know. And I also met their mom, you know what I'm saying? God rest the dead. I met their mom in the social services building as well. She came in there one time, and she like, you see the interviews of how people talk about like how much she loved her boys and stuff, and it's so true. When she came in there, she was bragging about her boys. She was asking if we knew who they were. She's like, yeah, I forgot how she worded it, but she was letting us know. I don't know if she said I'm the Clipse brothers' mom, or I can't remember. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she said something to let us know who they were, and was like, yeah, I'm their mom. And you know, and people at that age, they have certain medical insurance, so that's why they was there, because people was trying to clown like, oh, they rich, why is his mom in the... Nah, y'all just don't understand how stuff goes. That has nothing to do with nothing. Like, that's just certain ages you have certain insurance. Like, it don't matter if the people's rich or whatever. That's just what you do. But, you know, she was really bigging him up, and then so I got to meet their mom too at the social services building. So that was a cool experience. Fast forward, yet go back to the past, because these stories were, well, the first one was in the past, future. Now it's kind of going backtrack a little bit. So when I was more heavy into the music, I always been a fan of the Clipse. I always respected and loved the Clipse. I never hated on the Clipse, but I will admit I was on that wave back in the day. A lot of us local artists, underground artists, independent artists, a lot of us were disgruntled, and there was always a huge narrative and conversation about the bigger names not pulling up none of the smaller guys. And Clipse used to catch Clipse over that. And I was a part of that, I'm not gonna lie, you know, because I always was like, damn, you know, the big names in VA don't do nothing for the other people in VA. They don't pull the other artists up. They don't put no shine on the other artists. And that was a huge conversation during that time, because the big name DJs, producers, the video guys, the rappers, it was like nobody was coming back to put nobody on, because like we used to be disgruntled seeing Cali artist after artist coming out and them coming back pulling this artist out, Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, of course New York, Chicago. We started seeing, like, you know, in different areas, we was like, damn, but it was always a question of why we never had a huge music scene. And so a lot of us used to always point that out. Like, these artists don't come back. They don't big up nobody. They don't pull up nobody. They don't put nobody on. And I used to always make comments about that. I always, and like, I tried to see if I could dig up some of these comments. Some of these pages don't exist no more, but because I wanted to show, like, it wasn't that I never hated on the Clipse. I always represented the Clipse. I always was proud and rep their music and partook in their music. But I always was like wondering, like, dang, how come they don't ever like put nobody on? You know what I'm saying? They blew up. And I used to be heavy commenting on that when that conversation was taking place. And at that time, I had a decent buzz. I had a decent name. Like I said, I was a local hometown hero. And I was constantly like on the major platforms that were out commenting and on that. I have another story maybe for another video, because I can't remember the DJ's name, but it's a popular DJ that I got into it with out here in Vibe Beach, to the point where like I had to like threaten the guy. It was over some money. So my homeboy Maximilian had to like intervene in that. But that's for another time. So it was like a tense time for artists, because we just felt like we wasn't really getting no love, no shine already from the outer regions, and then the people from here that's popping wasn't giving us no shine as well, no love. So I was like a big commenter on that. And I thought at one point, due to a situation, that Pusha may have seen or heard or have started receiving that, okay, this upcoming guy keeps trying to call us out or whatever. So I thought that in a song that he did, that he was mocking me. So I had a situation. I'd actually moved from Vibe Beach to Hampton, and I was in a pretty rough area, and there was a situation where my car ended up getting shot up. The police recovered 13 bullets or shells or whatever, casings or whatever they get from the vehicle, and they told me, like, if anybody was in the vehicle at the time of that shooting, they would be dead.
You know you're at the Presley's apartment when you see their shot-up car out front.
Look out the window and I see people running. Then I hear my wife, yelling to get the kids on the ground. That's when I knew something was going on.
What was going on? Gunfire that left 1 dead, 2 injured, and 3 suspects on the run.
The shells started from my door all the way out to the street where my car was.
It all unfolded outside Presley's apartment, left behind a shot-up car.
Then there's like bullet holes in the side of my door, and then the back windshield got shot out.
Presley's children aren't even here anymore. They've been sent to stay with a grandmother in Virginia Beach.
It's just crazy. You shouldn't have to worry about stuff like that. Especially when you ain't got nothing to do with whatever the issue was. You just come out in an open, populated place, there's kids outside. That's just kind of reckless.
So my car gets hit up 13 times. And at the time I drove a Mazda. I had a blood orange Mazda Tribute. I was on the news and everything. So if you look at the dates, and I'm looking at it, when I heard it, for some reason it just my subconscious like,
Drug dealers anonymous. How many Madonnas can that Mazda fit? Cause hush money balances all this drugs and violence. And I can't even mention what I sent or what I spent. How many Madonnas can that Mazda fit?
Just like, hold up, why is he, you know what I mean? I took it as a shot, subliminal. Like, he was taunting me, and I took it as a couple ways. That he was hearing the messages, the comments that I was making, because like I said, I had a name and stuff was spreading. And he either, did what he had to do and was like making a subliminal shot, like, yeah, shut your mouth. Or this was a separate situation that he just heard about and was like, oh, that's the guy that be making the comments, and threw a shot to just mock me or you know what I'm saying, mock the situation. Because I'm like, he's a high taste level rapper, man. He don't rap, like, he rapping about a Mazda, and I happen to be driving a Mazda that got shot up. And before you say it's a reach, if you look at the dates of when my car got shot up. And then look at the date of when he released the track where he made the comment about the Mazda. How many Madonnas can that Mazda fit? Right? So I took it as just a light subliminal, like, oh, he taunting. Then I was like, wait a minute, what does he mean by that? Well, it's a double-edged sword, because how many Madonnas can that Mazda fit? And I was in the street money at the time. So some could interpret it as, okay, Madonna, white girl, bricks. How people say, oh, I got that Miley, I got that Lindsay Lohan. It's a code name for, the street drug, the white stuff. Then I realized there's a such thing as a Madonna bullet. The Madonna bullet was a type of bra that the singer Madonna used to wear, the cone-shaped bra. So it was like a play on words, the Madonna bullet. How many bullets could that Mazda fit? Well, 13 to be exact. So it was funny. So for years, I took that as like a subliminal shot to me from Pusha. Now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't know. It could have been, or I could have just been using too much of my rapper brain and overthinking it. Just could have been a huge coincidence. But you never know. Because rappers are like that. Pusha T is one of those smart rappers that sees and hears things. He sits on it. He throws a little jab. Because, he's smart. He's not going to go all the way and give you no shine. He's going to do it in a way to where, how he says it himself.
That was 10 years ago. If you know, you know.